SoFi's turf and Jerry's World is turf. So the Rams, they were playing on turf, whether they went to Cowboys or but I guess Randy's saying that he feels like the Ford Field in Detroit is not a good field as far as the quality of the turf. So yeah, I guess that could be part of it. We definitely had some injuries there. That's where Emmanuel Mosley tore his ACL. No, not Mosley. It was it was Jason Verrett tore his ACL.
Didn't Emmanuel Mosley
week 1 of 2021?
The Lions, didn't he tear his ACL there?
Emmanuel Mosley retore his ACL that he tore with us.
Yes, he tore
second ACL. Yeah. Emmanuel Mosley did. Shardo Gupta in the house saying hi, Crypto Ryan. He's going way back to the crypto days. Saying hi, Ted. Hi, Shardall. Welcome. Saying hi to Randy and Alberto. Everybody's saying hi. Edgar, Jimmy.
Oh, we got Don Dodson in the house.
There we go. Welcome, Don. Get to the bottom. Start working my way up. Took a turf management course when I went to college. Oh, nice. All right. That's good to know.
Did you, Randy?
Randy? At University of Delaware. He's a Gamecock. No, wait. Something hen. What are they?
The hen?
Yeah, there's some kind of hens at Delaware. And that's coincidentally where Joe Flacco went. So I think that's his Joe Flacco thing. Is like they're both. I think maybe even Joe Flacco played when Randy Daytona was at University of Delaware, if I'm not mistaken. So they're like the Proud Hens. That's not it. That sounds like something more Native American. But they're some kind of hens. Tell us what it is. Bail me out here, baby. Here, I can probably Google it,
right? Randy says he's just telling you Case needs a turf specialist. Randy, I don't play on fields with turf. You know what I'm saying? Gets in the teeth.
Oh, DOD.
Just saying.
All right, Fighting Blue Hens. Fighting Blue Hens.
Oh yeah, Detroit.
Proud Hens.
Blue Hens.
That was close. Got
Alberto says the only thing I could say is Detroit is missing one key player. That is Sam Laporta, and that could hurt Detroit. Yes, he's a very big part of their offense.
Yeah, him and Amon-Ra St. Brown and their young guy out of Alabama, Jahmyr Gibbs.
That guy is
first round running back.
In a bottle.
It's pretty rare. Bijan and him go in the first round. Up 2 running backs in the first round anymore. So we got.
You know why they do that, right?
Why they don't draft running backs in the first round?
No, why they do draft a running back in the first round?
Because they didn't get the memo.
No, the fifth year extension.
I guess you don't have to pay him. You still don't pay him a second contract, but you get 5 years instead of 4.
Exactly. And then you can franchise tag and do all that sort of thing.
All right, get a couple more years on the tag. Yeah,
exactly.
Randy, Dave McNiner in the house. Make sure you check out his channel, everybody. Armstead and Jennings are back. Oh, I didn't see that Armstead was back. That's great news. He's a huge loss to this defense.
I saw him and George Kittle talking, and I thought that was a wonderful interview. I think it's on the 49ers official channel. It might have been on Eric Armstead's channel. It might have been on Eric Armstead's channel, but I think they recorded it in the 49ers locker room or one of the office areas. But they were talking about Eric Armstead came in, and then, Eric always took pride in setting the edge. He was a defensive end on rundowns. I set the edge, right? Like, ain't nobody getting past me. And then they draft George Kittle, who's like, well, I'm the guy who runs through the edge guy, like this and that. So it was funny. They were talking about, just going to war every day in practice. Oh, James, what up? And so every day in practice, they finally realized after a while, like, hey, we got to figure out how to still stay tough and hard against each other, but make sure we're not overexerting ourselves to getting ourselves in situations where we can get hurt, because we're getting ourselves a little too amped up. So yeah, I thought that was interesting to know. Also, James, hit me up on Twitter. I got the link for the Discord. Get this going.
There you go. And he said birthday. Does that mean it's your birthday, James? How old are you today? Real quick, I was going to go back up. I'm getting kind of bouncing around here.
Spud face cabbage liquors.
That too. Look, always a good one.
No turf. No turf. It gets in the teeth.
Randy says he took a turf management course when he went to college. Like, was that in black and white, Randy, or what? I think he's old.
Reel
like
to reel.
Me. I think he's old like me. I think that's a fair shot at him. Actually, I'm probably a little older. But Randy's definitely, a senior faithful. We said hi to Don. Good. David Corona in the house. And what up, everyone? All day, every day.
David Corona.
Right back to practice. Turf specialist. You think anything's changed since then, Randy? You don't think there's any new techniques? I mean, just like, did they have indoor grass stadiums back then, Randy? I don't think so. I'm going to say no, they didn't. But no, I'm sure there's been a few updates since back in the day. The only thing I could say about trying to, Sam Laporta. Yeah, that's huge. The whole rest versus rust. And did we talk about this last week? How I don't like rest versus rust, because rest and rust are that's the same thing. You get rust when you rest. And so it's really rest versus injury. And the Lions chose not to rest, and they got injured. So this is why we rest our players, folks. Because we want, and why Kittle was a mystery scratch right before the game time. Like, he was supposed to play. He did his warm-ups, and he's like, I don't think I want to play. I'm like, okay, no problem.
Greenlaw. I
know Pro Bowl mod.
I'm pretty sure that everybody who had any sort of bump or anything, something that was still kind of lingering or anything, which everybody has something, but any of the big guys, it was just like, okay, you got in the game, now get out. You can go to the locker room and change if you want. You're not going back in. It was like, we got them in there for 2 downs. You know what I mean? Like, good enough to say they played this game. No, he rested half the team, which is I'm okay with. I'm okay with. You talk about getting rust by resting. We had a bye week coming out after we were run down 3 games in a row. We were losing all this stuff, and we came out and we started smacking people. We smacked the first game out. We smacked the hottest team in the league at that point in time, Jacksonville. Smacked him. You saw the guy, the YouTuber guy talk about, oh, that's your stadium. That's you guys. You guys came for real. We're not for real. You're for real, right? That was us. We smacked them in their own house. This is what we needed. That interview that I was telling you about that I was watching, Eric Armstead, what are you going to do, Kittle? He says, I'm going to take advantage of any recovery thing I can. He pretty much said, I'm going to massage, yoga, this and that. I'm still going to do my cardio pretty much. But, what are you doing tonight? He says, I'm going home and I'm sitting in the hot tub. You know what I mean? I'm going home and I'm sitting in a hot tub. And to me, what does that mean? He's just going to rest up. They all got to go. They also even said he liked the fact that they were having to still go to the office, essentially. So yeah, they have a week off, essentially. They're not hitting people and doing all this stuff, but they still have to go and check in. There's still going to be, I'm guessing, certain things they want to run through with people. You're still going to have to do your workouts and stuff like that. So I think they've got a great plan. I think what we saw after the bye week is what we should expect out of this team going forward.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to say. I feel like the loss to the Ravens was quite a bit of bad luck. Not necessarily that we got balls tipped, because that happens a lot to us, especially with Brock Purdy, and Jimmy, and it happened with Trey Lance too. But we definitely have a lot of balls batted, but just to have so many not fall harmlessly to the ground, like is much more normal.
Well, I don't even think
so
it's
many
that. I don't think we're fresh enough to be as physical as we normally are. And when we're that physical, we win games. We weren't fresh enough. That's how I feel. What did we do to the Commanders? We should have smacked the shit out of them. It was a close game. I felt we were trending downwards because we're tired again. All those negative rest days, I think, are coming to a head again. So for us to nail the first seed, and essentially Kyle putting in everybody in there for a couple of games, they made them train hard like they were going to play all week long. And then after the first series, he pretty much sat everybody. They didn't get a chance to get multiple bruises, bumps, another kind of sore something, and which makes this off week even better rest for them, because they didn't play a full game. They didn't get into as many car crashes as they normally do. Load the truth. I was thinking that was Don't Bother Me.
No worries. We'll keep an eye out. What did Load the Truth say? Hams versus Lions going to be a shootout. There you go.
It could be. Or
what are we expecting out of Wild Card Weekend? Predicting any upsets?
Rams over Lions. I feel if the Rams can get out to a lead early, I think that might be a big thing, because I don't know if the Lions are have the fortitude yet. You know what I mean? Just
they definitely don't have the.
I'm not saying they don't.
Sorry. I said they definitely don't have the Laporta.
And that's another thing. I was so sad to see Laporta go down.
Yeah, he's been having a hell of a season. Him and Gibbs, the first rookie duo for any team ever to have double-digit TDs in their rookie seasons. That's incredible.
Sam Laporta just doing good work for the Iowa tight ends. You know what I mean? Like just continuing the tradition. And I'm not an Iowa fan, this and that. I like to see guys who play good football, and Laporta, Kittle, they all play really good football.
Even Noah Fant isn't bad either. He's not in that same category, but Noah Fant's a pretty good tight end too. Yeah, he's not. But so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Rams beat the Lions. I think that game's pretty much a coin flip. I don't know, did I say this to you last week, that I think if the Rams weren't really trying to win on Sunday, that it was because all things equal, if they felt like they had an equal chance to lose to Detroit or the Cowboys, and they're like both indoors, they're both on AstroTurf, that the Rams really didn't want to lose to Goff, because well, then why'd you trade the 2 first rounders for Stafford? Because that's people that are very QB win centric will focus on that, and they will say, "Oh, you should never have traded for Stafford."
If Sean McVay is making decisions on that, he should be fired.
I just think there's that storyline in people's heads.
Nope.
I think people think about things like I
don't think anybody gives a damn. So anybody worth their salt would know that Matt Stafford's a better quarterback than Jared Goff. Okay. Jared Goff's got, I would say, pound for pound, a better team around him.
Yes. Well, with Laporta. Without Laporta.
Right.
I don't know.
But also Cooper
That could
Kupp
be the
isn't Cooper
difference.
Kupp. It hasn't been Cooper Kupp this year. And Puka Nakua is playing on his goddamn mind. So, you know what I mean? But so is Laporta. So, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's even for the fact that you've got such a talented quarterback on the other end, and you've got a talented team with an all right average quarterback. I think it's kind of same. And if you look at the good team, who's like good on paper, pound for pound, the better team on kind of a slump, and this other team essentially not pound for pound better, but has a couple good MVPs and a couple of good stars on their team on an upward trajectory. That to me is essentially it's even. That's 50-50. That's a coin flip for me. That's a coin flip game.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, coin flip.
Even though I would say the Rams should be outclassed. They should be outclassed.
I mean, if I had to bet, I would take the Rams in the 3.5 points for sure. I would definitely take the Rams in the points. And then Ryan was saying he wouldn't.
I would take that. Yeah.
You were saying you wouldn't pick Green Bay to upset the Cowboys, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
Not at home. Not at home. If the Cowboys were playing in Green Bay, I could see that. I don't think
David Corona was
Cowboys want to go up playing a blizzard.
David Corona was there Christmas Day
for
the Ravens game. So I just say
Corey Davis was supposed to go to that game.
Tell me.
Shout out Corey Davis.
R.I.P. Corey Davis.
Yep.
Yeah. So make sure you tell me which games you're going to next year, Corey. I'll make sure, or David, I'll make sure to avoid them. I'm just kidding.
You hear that, David?
I'm not that superstitious, but maybe a little bit. I don't know. Go low, get low. There you go. Dino in the house. Looks like he's a Rams fan. He says Packers over Cowboys. Yeah, Dino, I don't think it's that far-fetched. I mean, I would definitely take the Packers in the points. But I mean, even straight up, I wouldn't be surprised. I would probably bet on Cowboys straight up, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think it'll be a close game. Jordan Love's playing great. He's got Aaron Jones back. He's got A.J. Dillon. If you can run at Micah, you can make that defense. I mean, the Cards showed us how to do it. The Bills showed us how to do it. Like, just like we provided the blueprint on the Eagles, on how to beat the Eagles, I think the Cards and Bills provided blueprint on how to beat the Cowboys. So we'll see. Chris Osorno in the house.
We did the same thing to him. Remember our score against them? We smacked the shit out of them.
42-10. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no. Some thought
did they get double-digit points?
Yeah, they did. They got that one. They got that one. That it was Isaiah Oliver got cooked by Turpin on that one TD to the right. Yeah. Yeah, in the end zone to the right side of that end zone. Yeah. Chris Sorno says the Rams will be reminded they are a rebuild team should they see us. Absolutely. I have no doubts that it would go differently than week 18 did. But welcome, Chris. Don Dodson says, so question, if the Rams Eagles lose, they're out of it. Yeah, anybody lose, they're out of it. That's how it works. One and done. One loss and done in the playoffs, Don. Allegiant Stadium is an indoor grass stadium only for football games, and every other events it's turf. Interesting. That's a smart way to do it, for sure. Bring in turf for the event so the grass doesn't get all torn up. But I didn't know that. That's Vegas. That's where the Super Bowl will be. Allegiant. Eagles and Rams.
The smart places have a place to put their field. It's built in. You got a place to put the field.
Team Kali in the house says Eagles and Rams get booted out. Rams don't have the defense. The Lions and Eagles are injured. Yeah, I would love to play the Eagles at Levi's, but I don't think they'll make it. I think the Rams the Bucks might beat them. I don't really care, honestly. Neither of those teams scare me. The Bucks nor the Eagles.
Vita Veda, it'll eat up their run game. And then
Vita,
one-dimensional.
he's a monster. They also have, Levante David and something or other white linebackers that are good. They got a great safety. They have a good defense. It's solid. But I think Baker's been the one thing that the problem for the Bucs is Baker has a broken rib. And that never helps, having a broken rib for a quarterback. It can be trouble. If you can't breathe, you can't cough, you can't laugh, you can't sneeze.
Having a broken rib for anybody in any sort of a profession is not cool. I don't care if you sit at a desk all day. It doesn't matter.
Randy, stop.
It's not a good existence.
Randy, stop it. I looked it up during the last show. Cowboy Stadium is not sod. It is artificial turf. It's just greener than the other artificial. It's more verdant green, whereas like Ford Field is sort of like a army green, a drab green, a grayish green that really looks like turf. The Cowboys turf looks like grass, but it ain't grass. It ain't grass, Randy. The only two stadiums are Allegiant in Vegas and State Farm in Arizona. That's it. That have real grass in a dome. In Arizona, even the dome opens. And if the Cowboys lose as well. Yeah, if the Cowboys lose, that means the Packers win. That means we don't have to watch any other games to know that we play the Packers next week because they are the lowest seed. If they win, we automatically get the Packers at Levi's. But as I've been saying, I'm more worried about the Rams and Packers than I am about the Cowboys and Lions. And I'm not worried about the Seahawks and Bucks at all, or very little. Not the Seahawks, the Eagles and Bucks much at all. Yeah, when I say that I'm worried, keep in mind I'm not very worried, right? I mean, that's the part that some people mistook on the timeline. Like, oh, how can you be worried about these things? I just meant more worried. Doesn't mean very worried. Just means I'd rather play the other teams. That's what it means. I think we have more margin for error against the other teams, in my opinion. Turf guy, I'm hired. Randy, let it go, brother. Let it go. Eagles are a definite L. Never seen a team hit the floor harder than them before. Yeah, and now A.J. Brown's injured too.
Holy moly.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to warn Eagles fans last year that the Super Bowl hangover is real, especially for Super Bowl losers. And they were like, well, not for us. We're going to be better. Look at our draft class. And I told them, I'm like, you let all your middle linebackers go. You gave us Javon Hargrave. You let C.J. Gardner-Johnson go to the Lions. And, you had a bunch of good-looking draft picks. And guess what? 50% of draft picks fail. And the 50% that don't fail, a big chunk of them aren't great as rookies. So, it seemed like an easy bet for me that their defense would regress. Not to mention that they lost Gannon and Steichen as well. And they're like, oh, we won't miss Gannon, but it seems like they missed both. If you ask me. Sirianni.
All they're trying to do is draft Georgia's defense.
Yeah.
That's all they want is that championship defense. They just want to put that together, and that's how they win.
We did break.
Yeah, couldn't happen to a nicer coach though. Couldn't happen to a nicer coach. Have the season you deserve, Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, he's awful.
Damian Lee in the house. Rams concern me too, Damian Lee. Rams concern me too.
Avoid his peak ups. No, I'm messing around.
Oh, you're up there a minute. Yeah. You don't know
David
Corona.
I'll jump down and work my way up from here. So Rams, they concern me too. Absolutely. They're arguably the hottest team in the NFL right now. Maybe them or the Ravens. Sirianni is the most overrated coach I've ever seen. Absolutely. And
I just see him be like, yeah, I'm gonna get an offensive coordinator and I'm gonna tell him make offensive plays and then call him, right? And then I'm gonna get a defensive coordinator and I'm gonna get him to call the plays and make the defense. And I'm gonna sit back and tell everybody you're doing a good job or you're not doing a good job. I don't know why he's not doing a better job. I told him he's not doing a good job. He just seems like that type of a guy to me, or he doesn't really bring much to the table. Like, what is he, an offensive or a defensive minded coach? How come he's got these coordinators? If he's such a good offensive or defensive minded coach, then why isn't he like taking over one or the other? Because he's not. He's just an all right coach at that, and he just knows how to manage people together, I guess, which I'm guessing is not that effective.
Puppet master.
Yeah.
I
kind
of like Harbaugh.
He's like Puff Daddy.
Congrats to Harbaugh. I almost titled the show Harbaugh is a champion, and I was like, I'm just keep it to NFL. But
do you know who Puff Daddy is?
Yeah, Puffy Combs, Sean Puffy
Combs. Well, not all the new allegations that came out, but he's kind of like he's kind of like, you know, singing on all the video, dancing in all the videos, and singing on the songs. You know what I mean? Like he's doing all this extra stuff when like he's taking all this credit for being a genius when really it's just the people he's hired to do stuff. You know, like lay the track, rap on the beat. It's all those people that he puts together to make these hits that actually do what everybody likes. It's not him that brings anything really to the table that's profound. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I agree.
You're just taking a cut of everybody's paycheck, you know what I mean, for just essentially asking them to come. It doesn't make sense.
Management fee.
Yeah.
Low the Truth says, yeah, I think Mike Evans is going to cook Slay, Eagles secondary. Don't forget Chris Godwin. Don't forget Rachaad White, their star running back. They have a good trio there in the Bucs. And, you know, the Eagles had their trio of
shout out,
A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. But now they're missing A.J. Brown, their number one receiver, their physical guy. He's a lot like Debo. Not quite as yacky or wide backy, but hell of a receiver. Maybe a better route runner, maybe better hands than Debo. So huge loss for the Eagles. I guess they still have Swift, so I guess they have some sort of trio there. But I don't know.
Yeah, but
I know you can count on Devontae
Smith. You had two of them to deal with. Now you got one. That's not good.
Yeah.
Shout out, hey, Damian Lee. What'd you think about Cat Williams? Let me know what you think about Cat Williams.
Tell me the story about Cat Williams, because I don't have a damn clue what happened with all that. It was with Shannon Sharpe, right? There was like an interview. I never watched it, so you fill me in.
So it looks like what first brought this apart is did you ever see Next Friday?
Yes. After Friday.
Okay, so
the sequel.
Yes. So Cat Williams was the pimp, Money Mike.
Ah, okay.
So the dude who played the dumbass Santa in that movie, which I always thought, I was like, this Santa is an idiot, right? It just seems like the worst character. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of things that once Cat said all this stuff that just made more sense to me. So the Santa, I can't remember the name, something Riley. He's really not really important at all. He's just somebody who's done some things, and somehow he's rubbed enough elbows to where he's got a radio show. And I didn't know this until Cat Williams said all this stuff, and I figured all this, like, he wasn't important at all. Cat Williams made him more important than he ever was after all this. Anyway, so that dude went on Shannon Sharpe's thing and saying, oh, well, I was supposed to be Money Mike, and they made me the Santa. And it was like, well, what really happened, Ice Cube said this, was he did try out whatever his name is, the radio dude. He did try out for the pimp, but he's not pimp material, and they liked him. They want him to be the Santa. So he went to be the Santa, and they kept on interviewing people, and Cat Williams came through, and they're like, oh, this guy totally needs to be our pimp. So, you know, that was one thing that was wronged. Steve Harvey was talking some ish and doing some stuff. I can't remember all of what Steve Harvey did, but Steve Harvey's an asshole who was talking and being a bitch to Bernie Mac, who passed away. I really appreciate Bernie Mac. So you know what I mean? Like once I found that, I was like, oh, you a bitch. He got a fake hair transplant. He all sorts of things. He's just going through the gab. But then Cedric the Entertainer stole his ending bit. So I was a young kid in 2000, Kings of Comedy, man. I watched that so many times. I did not like Cedric the Entertainer's ending bit. Turns out he stole that from Cat Williams. That was Cat Williams' ending bit. And now I know why. I didn't like that. Because he didn't make it. He didn't know how to do it correctly. He was just an asshole who just stole the shit and turned it into a spaceship instead of a Cadillac. And when I'm watching Cat Williams do it, I'm laughing. When I watched Cedric the Entertainer do it, I didn't really laugh. So I was like, what is going on that?
There you go.
But Cat, oh really? Cat change it to a pimp? I don't know. I heard it was supposed to be a pimp. I'm not sure. That's what I heard. Well, that's what. Who knows? That's what. Ice Cube said that he was interviewing for a pimp position, so maybe they could have changed it afterwards, and maybe dude was, the Santa Claus was auditioning to be a crackhead in the beginning because I feel like he is. But then he went and talked about Puff Daddy. I guess, Harvey Weinstein tried to do some things to him, I guess. And he had to tell Harvey Weinstein no. He also had to tell Puff Daddy. I guess Puff Daddy likes to have a party with lots of guys and where you don't talk about things that go on in those parties. And it's not like there's a lot of girls there too. So he was saying that he got he got invites to go to Puff Daddy's parties, and so there was a lot of info that was spilled out here, and then he kept on reminding Shannon Sharps, and I could say this stuff because I have all the receipts. so
man after my own heart.
If you, oh my God, Ted, it's amazing. I love Cat Williams. He could be telling you a lie and I'm still going to believe him because the way he says everything is so awesome. I love how he just, there was a lady who was trying to ambush him and she's like, she said, oh, this is just a friendly show. We'll talk about this and that. And then she comes in and she's like, you got convictions. And he's like, nope, I been put up for 19 felonies, 0 convictions. He just keeps on going. He uses all his words instead of just being a jerk. You know what I mean? To her, he just uses his brain. He's a funny, hilarious dude. Everybody, when you got time, look up Mountain of the Caucasus. Okay. And you will see Cat Williams in jail. Well, from a movie in jail. And he's talking to his girlfriend about why she's got like a 2-year-old baby, a white baby, when he's been in there for like, I don't know, 15 consecutive years. You know what I'm saying? He's calling her out and saying that baby's from the Mountain of the Caucasus. It's one of the fun. If you're not bent over in your chair dying laughing afterwards, something's wrong with you.
There you go.
He's hilarious.
I like it. Randy, a man after my own heart. Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, and Red Fox.
Yep.
Oh, and you not remember Sanford and Son, but it was a classic.
Paul Mooney. Paul Mooney is one of my favorites to watch. He makes me very uncomfortable sometimes. Makes me laugh even harder because like when you're uncomfortable, you kind of don't know what to do, so you laugh. So like he does say the N-word a little bit. It's not like I go around reciting his jokes, but he's hilarious. And he used to do a lot of writing for Richard Pryor. So, I mean, some of the stuff he says with a straight face is freaking hilarious. So check out Paul Mooney. He used to be on the Chappelle Show. He did some cameos on the Chappelle Show, and that's where I found him, and I went further, and I just loved the man.
I met Dave Chappelle at Sports Club LA in San Francisco.
Oh,
and I was working out with a trainer. It was before I got my trainer who I stayed with for like 10 or 15 years. I was kind of bouncing around. It was my wife's trainer and named Rick. And he's like, hey, Ted, you know who this is? And I said, I said, "That's Rick James, bitch." And I thought Dave Chappelle would love it, and he just didn't even smile, nothing. I was like, "Damn, that's cold, tough crowd." But Chappelle's hilarious. He's very smart.
You know what
Very
I love
smart.
about watching Chappelle's stand-ups? You're gonna laugh your ass off, but you're gonna feel emotion about something at some point in the night, you know, and you're gonna learn something. He always leaves you with a thought. Whether you're white or you're black, there's a thought about, and there's like a story behind. He at the end of his shows, he wants you to leave with something. And I always appreciate that because it reminds me of how really at the bottom line of all this, we are human. When you watch one of his shows, you'll see at the end of it, it reminds you that we're all just humans.
No doubt
George
about
Carlin. Yeah, George Carlin. And
Carlin's hilarious. Yeah.
Don Rickles. Don Rickles. Yes, Robin Harris. Right. When I saw that you said Robin, I had yes, Robin Harris. Yep. Gone too early. They were talking about Robin Harris this morning in Terradome's chat. Yep.
So someone in the chat, Don, was saying it looks like we signed someone from the Chargers. I saw that we worked out Casey Hayward today, so that's probably who it is. He's a cornerback. But I didn't see that we signed him. Maybe there was some newer news. So far, I just see workouts. But I wouldn't be surprised if we sign. We need cornerback depth, especially with Ambry Thomas getting hand surgery. You know, they say he'll be back next week, but, you know, who knows? Hands are pretty important for a cornerback, I'd say.
Yeah, but he's getting a club, so I'll take a club over a hand any day. What wide receiver wants to get beat with a club all day?
I remember when Kalen Williams had that club.
I remember when Garrison Hurst had it. He ran for like 200 yards on the Cowboys with like a cast on his arm. Shout out Garrison Hurst.
I remember when Jimmy Ward had it, he did not play well with the club on his hand. That was against the Chiefs and a few other teams there in the middle of 2022. Alex Smith in the house. Welcome, Alex. I hope you're enjoying. Hope you're enjoying retirement. What do you mean by worry me? Most have sucked. You're saying the NFC teams because my title of my show is "Do any NFC teams worry you?" I just mean, you know, are there any teams that you think have a chance to beat us? Especially like say we had some injuries or some things go wrong, some miscues. Which of the teams do you think has the best chance to beat us? Is sort of maybe a better way to phrase it. Said most of them suck. I don't know if I go that far. I don't think. I think the Cowboys suck versus us, but versus the rest of the league, the Cowboys are pretty good. Well, not the Bills or the Cards, but George Carlin, yeah, he was a very interesting guy for sure.
That's the imposter.
The imposter. Oh, RSR.
Yeah, they got the fake accounts and the.
I'll give him the boot. Bye-bye. It's the kid in the house. Salute to No Border, Ted, Fortnite Faithful. Welcome.
What up? It's the kid. You got anybody in the NFC? In the NFC that kind of gives you any worries?
So Detroit and Los Angeles. So at least they play. So one of them be gone. Give me 1 sec.
Yeah, that's what we've been. What we did take a break for a second to talk about great comedians there, but well, we were talking about Cat Williams.
Yeah, no, that was fun. Absolutely. CB Robin Harris, amazing. Another comedian, I guess. Don was a riot.
Yes.
Don Rickles.
Don Rickles.
He was a little bit on PC, but the best comedians are like
Well,
we
but
say, like dad jokes don't offend anybody, but these aren't very funny either. So speaking of dad jokes,
but
where's
his whole shtick was essentially he only roasted essentially the people that he liked. So yeah, he was saying this horrible stuff, but he really actually appreciated those people. And everybody, like, I watched Denzel Washington stay on stage on, I think it was Letterman, while Don Rickles came out. And Don Rickles just dressed Letterman up and down and praised Denzel Washington left and right, like he was like God walking on earth. You know what I'm saying? And he, just berated him up and down. And yes, at times he would say, discouraging things about black people and whatnot. But that was always like, he's doing it on the Sammy Davis Jr. thing. It was a different time also. He started cutting his teeth, talking shit to mobsters. You know what I mean? Like that was the guys he was making fun of in the beginning. The people with the pinking rings that could have you rubbed out in the middle of the night. And he just took that and just went on everybody. You know what I mean? He loved everybody. He appreciated it, all sorts of people. It just, you know what I mean? His comedy sense, he was the Dean of Mean. Like he was supposed to attack you for everything. And that was his shtick. Everybody knew. Like Denzel Washington wouldn't sit there and, he's laughing. He's not even talking to him. And Denzel Washington has got his hands over his face like this because he's laughing so hard without looking at him that looking at him would just be too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is up with that? Dave Attell, Doug Stanhope. Yes, they're very good. Very good. Doug Stanhope is awesome. Dave Attell is a genius. He will never tell a joke the same way once or twice. He will always tell it a different joke, and he'll always kind of get the same laughs, which is not what most comedians do. They will hone in the same joke in the same way, just kind of try and figure out how to make it the best. So they'll add a little something or take a little something away each time to kind of figure out where it goes. Dave Attell doesn't do that. He's got a great mind and he just hits them. Shout out to Dave Attell.
What do we think about the AFC brackets?
Ooh. Well, I don't want to see the teams I don't want to see in the Super Bowl are the Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, fair enough. I know everybody wants to do all this, like, let's, get revenge, this and that. Cool. All right. Look, I'm down for that. But you really want my fair assessment? I don't want to see either of those teams because those are the teams I feel have the best shot to beat us. And who knows? They might be more beat up by the time they get to us than we will be by the time they get to them, by the time we get to them. But those are the teams I don't want to see in the Super Bowl.
I wouldn't mind a little revenge on the Chiefs, but I don't think they'll make it.
Oh, yeah. That would be if they could somehow limp in there and we could just, Highlander them off and then, take their power. And then, we got the dynasty for the next 5 years. I'm down. Cool. Totally cool.
Randy says agreed. Don't want to see Browns.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Those are probably my big three,
Texans.
too.
I love the Texans this year. Shout out
Dino. I mean, it sounds crazy, but CJ Stroud, man, God, he is balling. I would maybe say yes if they had Tank Dell still, but without him, I don't know that they have enough firepower against that Cleveland defense.
Who knows? You got a young kid who doesn't think he can do wrong. And if you got an offensive coordinator that can put him in the right position, that could be deadly.
He made a couple really nice back foot throws on the game-winning drive in their last game.
Yeah.
I was really impressed by CJ Stroud in that game. Obviously the big one to start the game too, the big TD pass. He's something else. I saw a lot of people on the timeline say, because somebody said, would you take CJ Stroud or would you take Brock Purdy if you could pick? and a lot of people took CJ Stroud, and
Well,
a lot of Niner
but
fans took CJ
we
Stroud.
know that Brock Purdy does well in our system. That's not something
Yep.
I'm willing to gamble with. How many quarterbacks have we been through? How many quarterbacks are supposedly smart quarterbacks, guys, or this or that? And no, nope. I'm good. I'm good with what we got. Plus he's got the heart of a plumber. To me, he's got the heart of a plumber. He's not worried about Brock Purdy, the Hall of Fame quarterback. He's worried about Brock Purdy, the best 49ers teammate you could have.
And you hold plumbers in high esteem.
That's what I want.
Correctly.
Well, it's hard to get up every day and touch shit while you're wet and you're in a cramped area. You know what I'm saying? And you got to spend a couple hours, in that cramped, damp area touching shit. You know what I mean? And if you decide not to show up for work that day, well, guess what? People are going to have to come home to shit in their house. And they're going to have to wake up to shit in their house. And the whole world will kind of stop if plumbers go away. Right? Because it's just going to be nasty. You have water running everywhere. So you gotta be able to get up every day and go touch the shit and be in the cramped best area and nobody to appreciate you. And if you don't, you're in trouble. So you got a heart of a plumber. He's doing the dirty work day in, day out. Doesn't gripe about it. He knows that's what he's there for. It's better than having a diva.
No doubt about it. I agree. Yeah, I don't know if I could answer the question. I didn't answer it on the timeline. But CJ Stroud is awfully impressive for not having the weapons we have. I mean, like you say, like we don't know how they work in our system, but let's face it, we do have one of the cushier setups for any QB in the NFL. But yeah, I see your point about take the bird in the hand versus two in the bush.
Weapons, but you can't throw to the weapons without knowing the system and getting the system, throwing with anticipation, having trust. It's not just easy. It's not like, oh, hey, I'm going to throw you, go hit a curl. I'm going to hit you, go run a curl. That is not this system. You've got to go here, you got to go there, you got to go there. This is the progression. That's where it goes. If you're hitting your back foot and you are still undecided about this one and you're going to stay on here and not progress, you're already late. You're behind. You fucked up the play already. You know what I mean? That is not what I'm willing to. We've seen how this offense is supposed to be ran. And when it's ran correctly, it is the nastiest offense in this league. Because we're here, we're there, we're there, we're here, we're there. You don't know where we can go. The ball's going to everybody. The ball literally goes to everybody until somebody sneaks out. You know what I mean? That seems like that's how it kind of goes. The ball just kind of gets mixed around until one person is just consistently open. And that's who Brock Purdy reins the ball in, because that's the person they've decided they're going to forget about.
There you go.
You know?
So Dino said Texans upset win over the Browns. Randy says he agrees. But Randy also, I think he was the one in my weekly show with Big Mike from the Man Cave, Browns fan I do a weekly show with, the Faithful Dog Show on Thursdays. I'm pretty sure Randy was the one saying, oh, the Browns are going to lose out and they're not going to make the playoffs either. So not sure that you have credibility when it comes to the Browns, Randy. If that was you, tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, that's fine. I'll take my lumps. But it seemed to recall there was somebody who was maybe it's Chardall that was after him big time. I guess we lost Chardall. He was here for a minute. He kept asking to join the show. Folks, just a little, FYI, like it's pretty rare that we allow a third person to pop up on a weekly show. That is, we're the host and co-host. You can ask, but but I'd say don't do it repeatedly. And
it would be probably pre-planned.
Yeah.
Just to go out there.
Yeah,
And
there
say
was one
that.
time I did it where I was with Pete Pedro, and Gammon Brown asked to come up, and he goes on a lot of shows, and he's pretty well spoken. And I was like, hey, I'm okay with it if my co-host is, and Pete said sure, so that's fine. It's just hard though, because you also don't want to put your co-host on the spot by saying that, because then it's like, oh, as a parent, you get this with your kids where you're like, oh, go ask mom, make her say no, and it's like you need to be a united front, and I don't want to ever set anybody up to be the bad guy when I'm like, oh, it's cool with me. So anyway, it puts us in an uncomfortable position. But I'm not saying don't do it, but just know that your chances of success are probably pretty low, unless you're somebody that we've worked with before, or like Ryan said, if it's something sort of pre set up. But then you don't need to ask if it's pre set up either, right? So Sugar
Right.
Not Big Mike had to be a pretty happy camper. Yeah, Big Mike and his buddy. Who's his buddy? I got it saved. Give me a minute. They do it. He does another show with a Browns fan, and it's a AFC North show. Bobby G. We're all in the same DM group together, and Bobby G. Second week in a row, he's got the Browns second in the freaking power rankings. He's got Ravens 1, Browns 2, 49ers 3, Bills 4, Cowboys 5, Lions 6, Rams 7, Texans 8, Steelers 9, Chiefs 10. So he's got the Texans ahead of the Chiefs. That's pretty wild. And the Steelers ahead of the Chiefs. I think that's pretty wild. I mean, even I even wonder about putting the Lions ahead of the Chiefs, honestly. Just because Patrick Mahomes, even if he only has Kelsey, and even if like his receivers can't catch a damn thing, the refs are going to help the shit out of him in the playoffs, right?
I don't think it can hold water this year.
I mean, not to win it all, but I mean to beat.
I don't think they can
beat the Dolphins at home. I think they can. Let's talk about it. Do you think the Dolphins can win at Arrowhead?
No. And it's not because of the refs. It's because they don't do well against good teams. They just don't have what it takes to stand up to good teams. They're not, I guess, physical enough. To me, that's what I see. They're not physical enough. Once they get smashed in the face, it seems like they go into a shell. I don't think they're the team yet.
No, they barely beat. The only really winning team they beat was the Cowboys, and the Cowboys barely beat any winning teams. Like the only winning teams they beat were the Dolphins and the Eagles. So
the Cowboys are paper tigers.
Yeah, they are. But
I think they're better than Green Bay. I think they
they have a better team. I just don't know that they're playing better right now.
Okay. But that's fine. That's
Green Bay. Jordan Love, something else. And he's been doing it with nobody. I think they're getting Christian Watson back, and they just got Aaron Jones back. And, it's just like Aaron Jones, he's not Christian McCaffrey, but he's definitely in that conversation of the top rushing.
I haven't seen who they were played lately, but what teams were they played? Any good teams that they played lately in this last run where they came up?
I mean, well, they played a really good defense in the in the Bears defense and played well against them, but obviously the offense is not great.
No.
Let's see. I'll take a look here in just a sec. If I could ever get there. NFL. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they've played like a murderer's row or anything, but so just beat the Bears. They beat the Vikings before that. They beat the Panthers. Lost to Tampa. Lost to the Giants. Beat Kansas City. Beat Detroit. Beat the Chargers. So, like I said, Detroit, I don't think they're that good. They also beat the Rams early in the season, but the Rams weren't very good early in the season. So, But the Packers have had a lot of injuries though, and I think they're starting to get a little healthier. And then Sugarnut says Browns had a miraculous season. Yeah, they obviously losing Deshaun Watson, losing DTR,
Dude. Hey,
beating
think
us
about
with freaking PJ Walker, and then now the Flacco.
they gave Deshaun Watson all that fucking money, and all they needed was Joe Flacco.
All they really needed, they already had, was Baker Mayfield. Man, they had just kept Baker.
Right?
Baker, you good? Baker's pretty good. At least right now, he's played
I
pretty
think he's
good this year.
I think he's a piece of shit of a person. Great on commercials and an all right quarterback.
Yeah. I also picked the 3 losses in a row, but picked the Jags too. Yeah, I remember that. Randy picked the Browns to beat us, the Vikings to beat us. He picked the Bengals to beat us, but he just took it one too far. He took the Jags, and we smoked them 34-3. If the Cowboys wasn't our best win of the season, that was. They're tomato potato. Eagles was pretty good too, but the third, not allowing them to score a TD was pretty big. He's a trip, yes, indeed. He's an interesting character for sure. The Bills are legit too. I like Josh Allen. Yeah, I pulled some Josh Allen receipts today because there were people saying he wasn't elite early this season. I was like, y'all are crazy because he threw a few interceptions. Like now he's like the highest rated quarterback by PFF. It was like Josh Allen, Dak. Was it CJ Stroud? Who was the third? I forget who the third one was, but I'll pull it up. And then Purdy was the 4th highest ranked by PFF quarterback in the NFL. And that's interesting because last week I had Purdy at 3-6 in my rankings. And I almost thought about moving him up this week, even though he didn't play, just because of how badly some of the other
shut up. You're really gonna move him up without him playing?
I was thinking about it. I didn't. I didn't do it.
If you're lucky you didn't do that. I would have talked shit. I would have talked shit just to let you know.
Feel free anytime, right? Feel free.
You can't move up on a week you didn't play unless
pretty sure Kurt Bankert moved him up. And I follow his rankings.
Unless somebody in front of you just S the bed, but still, I don't think a game can really throw you like, I don't know, 3 spaces down.
No, yeah, you're right. A lot of these guys have a lot bigger bodies of work. They shouldn't be that volatile. No doubt. I chose not to. I guess I made the right decision, at least in Ryan's eyes. But I somehow I didn't find it. I must have scrolled too far back. But yeah, I said when PFF ranked Josh Allen as the highest ranked quarterback in the NFL for 2023, I quote tweeted it and I said tough scene for the Josh is washed crowd. There were definitely people saying that earlier this season. I understand he had some bad games and it looked bad, but even at the time, I was saying this guy is asked to do a lot. And also I said all along, he had a lot of turnovers, but not all interceptions are created equal. When you throw a 50-50 ball, 50 plus yards down the field, half the time that turns into a huge play. And then the other half, it's incomplete and you punt, or it's intercepted and it's an arm punt. So I just and then of course there's
not just one of those. You're talking about there's balls that are tipped by receivers that tip it up into the air, and then it comes down.
Where Purdy was getting lucky with those for a lot of the season, and
Ronnie Bill's interceptions that he got for who was that? Was it Sam Darnold and Brock Purdy in the preseason? He had 2 of them that were those things should be on receivers, not just the 50-50 balls like that. If you as a receiver go up early and you end up tipping the ball as you're coming down and the cornerback gets it, that's your interception. You should have been knocking it away instead of tipping it up. Just saying.
All right, here it is. Lamar Jackson was the 3rd highest ranked quarterback by PFF. PFF. So Josh Allen was 91.4, Dak was 91.2, Lamar 90.4, Purdy 89.2. And I said, tough scene for the Josh is washed crowd. And then I was like, before people go start deleting their tweets, I went and pulled some of the receipts I had on that and went after a few folks, including some Niner fans. But oh well, friendly fire happens sometimes. And I remember earlier in the show, I was saying there was a receipt that I thought of when you were talking, and then I fell out of my head. But by the time it was my turn to talk, it was you were talking about Seahawks and Joe, and you were talking about how he thinks that the only problem is pass rush, and that is a problem for sure, especially when you think you got Frank Clark to replace Uchenna Nwosu, and then all of a sudden Frank Clark is a healthy scratch for more games than not going down the stretch. But it's just their run D, so that's a better D line would help with their run D. But like one of the receipts I pulled recently was Greg Bell in August 31st of 2023, who's a Seattle Seahawks reporter, said Jaron Reed was saying that the Seahawks finished 30th in the NFL versus run defense last year in 2022. Yeah. And he said, I can guarantee that's not going to happen this year. And anyway, I quote tweeted and said Seahawks 28th running. So he's right. It didn't happen, but 30th, 28th, come on. That's basically,
you would like to see
a pretty shitty run D.
You would like to see with who they acquired and what they went after in the draft, that a bigger bump than that, especially when that was a concern. They knew that was a big concern.
Yeah.
So whatever they did to address it did not work for them this year.
Yeah.
Not to say that it wasn't the right thing, but some way, somehow did not work for them, whether it was injuries or whatnot. You know what I mean? Like, it did not show through to fruition.
We have a late arrival, John LaJoie in the house. What's up, dudes? What's up, John?
What up, John?
Jags trash.
Oh, hey.
Randy, I'm glad they didn't make it.
Hey, it's 5 o'clock.
I was really rooting for the Steelers to make it, whether it was the Jags losing. Well, I wasn't going to root for the Bills to lose because I feel like the playoffs are better with the Bills in it. So I was rooting for the Jags to lose, and they did.
Hey, it's 5 o'clock.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. That's my witching hour. I DM'd three Steelers people that I know. Yeah, I'll do it real quick. I DM'd 3 Steelers people that I know. And I said, go Jags. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. And I said, or whatever, get you guys in. Go Titans. Including that Alex Barber guy that I brought up earlier today. So yes, I got a sponsor. They're called TTG. They're the Travelstead Group. They are a retail and logistics company. They do, and do I even have it up? Oh no, give me 1 second here. Usually I go off of a script.
We got the TTG.
What? No, I know we got the TTG
you don't
there.
Got your script.
Yeah, I don't got the script up.
He needs a script.
Bottom line, they're a retail and logistics company. They do new store openings. It's for retail and hospitality. They do new store openings, relocations, decommissions from the first mile to the final mile and everywhere in between. Travelstead has you covered. Let them know they can help you by air, ocean, or land. Nick and Henry are the go-to guys there. They are great fellas. They have 100% US-based support. So these are complex operations. So there's often fine tuning or sometimes snafus. It's great to know when you pick up the phone, you're not going to end up in some call center overseas where they have no clue what you do. Their website, the link to their website is in the description of the show. It's in my YouTube about page, my Twitter and X bio. It's also on Instagram and Facebook if you follow me there. Just click the link, watch the video, and make sure you tell them Ted sent you. So thanks in advance, everybody, and thanks for letting me pay the bills, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Shout out to TTG, sponsoring one of our homies. Always like to
you
see
know
him
me.
Cake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jags did spiral, absolutely. Yeah, people are starting to compare Trevor Lawrence's numbers to Mac Jones. Lawrence's are a little better, but not compared to 15th
I
overall and number 1 overall.
I would chill on that. I wouldn't say Lawrence is a bust. Like
I didn't say it.
he
I'm just saying he
he's
definitely,
shown the best progress out of all of them. No, I'm talking to everybody else.
yeah. Yeah, Christian Kirk was huge for them. I feel like that's true. He's turned into a pretty good. Well, I think Calvin Ridley's pretty good too. But yeah, it helps to have
Their
a
number
two-headed
one wide
monster.
receiver is a number 3 wide receiver.
Steelers over Bills, my upset. The Bills did get. Someone was saying the Dolphins are beat up. They are. I think it was Randy. I said Miami's hobbled. Didn't the Bills lose 3 or 4 defenders in that game too against the Dolphins? I think I saw like quite a few of their defenders go out, including Taylor Rapp on like the last play of the game went out.
Oh, really?
Looked like he was injured. Yeah. So Dino says he's really afraid of Detroit. Well, I mean, I think I like the Rams in the points for sure, but I kind of like the Rams straight up, honestly, against Detroit. I think Laporta for me. That's it. That's if they had Laporta, then I'd say coin flip. But I like the Rams to win. I think you guys will do it, Dino. Oh, I went on the mountainside like Thelma and Louise. Oh, the Jags did.
The Eagles? Or the Jags?
No, the Jags. Well, the Eagles too. Yeah, the Eagles and Jags both kind of nosedive at the end. Yeah.
Dude, they had a couple of losses, and all of a sudden the locker room drama started.
Big giggling.
I mean, I guess the Steelers, Mason Rudolph, it's harder to judge them with him. He's obviously not Kenny Pickett. And, they had no chance when they had Trash Bisky as their quarterback. So Mason Rudolph, I think, gives them a chance.
Oh, Team Cali. I thought the Hawaiians ate James Cook. Bad joke.
Oh, man.
Hey. Well, you shouldn't be trying to, was it empire, was it colonize, all that good stuff. Probably should have left them be. Might not have get messed up. I'm just saying.
We got a Bebop
Just
sighting. Bebop.
Like, I am not mad about what happened to Custer. I understand what happened to Custer. We fucked with the wrong people.
Payback.
He got fucked up. Yeah. We shouldn't have been messing with them people anyways. We should have been just leaving them the hell alone, letting them do their stuff. You know what I mean? Like, hey, sorry.
We got Bebop Jones in the house, late arrival from Bethlehem, PA. We're about to wrap Bebop, but welcome.
They found Custer's last message. It was bring ammo. Bring all the ammo.
Pretty much. Oh,
it was
brutal. Well, I think I'm hopelessly behind on the chat, so I'm going to call it and just say, Ryan, thank you for being my co-host, and thanks to all the audience who came and showed up and shared your thoughts. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week at 3:30 on Tuesday. I'll just say peace and go Niners.
Go Niners.